Hard work does not make you powerful. Hard work only makes you tired unless someone can see it, measure it, trust it, and use it. This is why many unsupported men work for years and still remain invisible. They are disciplined, they are improving, they are sacrificing, they are doing what everyone told them to do. Wake up early, work harder. Stay consistent. Keep going. Do not complain. Do not quit. Outwork everyone. And still, nothing moves. No one opens the door. No one gives them the opportunity. No one introduces them to the right people. No one says, "I see what you are building." No one treats their effort like it matters. So they start to believe the world is simply unfair. And sometimes it is. But that is not the whole truth. The colder truth is this: your work can be real and still have no power. Your effort can be sincere and still have no market value. Your skill can be improving and still remain invisible. Your sacrifice can be painful and still produce no leverage, because the world does not reward effort directly. The world rewards visible value. It rewards proof. It rewards signals. It rewards outcomes that can be seen, understood, trusted, repeated, and attached to a painful problem. That is the part most unsupported men are never taught. They are taught morality. They are taught obedience. They are taught patience. They are taught to believe that if they keep their head down long enough, someone will eventually notice. But power does not work like that. The world is not a fair examiner silently grading your hidden effort. The world is crowded. The world is distracted. The world is skeptical. The world is full of noise, competition, status games, and people trying to take attention before you even learn how to ask for it. So if your work has no signal, it disappears. If your effort has no proof, it becomes a private burden. If your skill has no positioning, it becomes vague. If your value has no leverage, it becomes optional. And optional men are ignored. This is not a motivational problem. This is a leverage problem. A man can work hard and still be weak if his work creates no visible evidence. A man can be talented and still be dismissed if no one knows what his talent solves. A man can suffer deeply and still gain nothing if his suffering produces no asset, no proof, no offer, no reputation, no door. This is why hard work alone does not save unsupported men. Hard work is necessary. But hard work is only the raw material. It is not the weapon. A block of iron is not a sword. A pile of bricks is not a fortress. A tired man is not automatically a powerful man. Effort must be shaped, skill must be proven, proof must be positioned, positioning must become leverage. Only then does work begin to move the world. Machiavelli understood something most men avoid. People do not respond only to reality. They respond to the appearance, framing, timing, and usefulness of reality. In The Prince, he wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." That sentence is not an invitation to become fake. It is a warning. If your work has no visible form, they will assume there is nothing there. If your competence leaves no evidence, they will treat you like potential instead of power. And potential does not get paid. Potential does not get trusted. Potential does not get chosen. Potential is what people praise when they do not have enough proof to respect you. So stop being proud of silent potential. Silent potential is cheap. Proof is expensive. Proof costs repetition. Proof costs exposure. Proof costs judgment. Proof costs the discomfort of being seen before you feel perfectly ready. But that is where power begins. The unsupported man must understand the three forces of success: skill, proof, leverage. Skill is what you can do. Proof is what others can see. Leverage is why they must care. If you only have skill, you are capable but invisible. You may be better than the men getting attention. You may be more disciplined than the men getting paid. You may be more serious than the men being invited into rooms. But if no one can see your ability has no social force. It exists inside you, but it does not move through the world. That is not power. That is private competence. And private competence is often mistaken for nothing. If you have skill and proof, you become visible. Now people can inspect your work. They can see your samples. They can judge your thinking. They can compare your before and after. They can understand that you are not just talking, you have evidence. But even proof is not enough if it is not attached to a problem someone cares about. That is where leverage begins. Leverage answers the question every serious person is secretly asking. Why does this matter to me? Not why did you work hard? Not how much did you suffer? Not how badly do you want it? Why does this matter to me? Can you save me time? Can you make me money? Can you reduce my risk? Can you raise my status? Can you solve a painful problem? Can you help me grow? Can you remove confusion? Can you make a result easier, faster, clearer, or more certain? That is the language of leverage. Unsupported men often hate this truth because it feels unfair. They want the world to care because they tried. They want family to respect them because they sacrificed. They want friends to believe in them because they know their intentions are serious. They want society to reward them because they endured. But the marketplace does not inspect your heart. It inspects proof. It does not reward your exhaustion. It rewards evidence. It does not pay you for the hours you buried in silence. It pays you when those hours become useful to someone else. This is why some men with less talent move faster. They are not always better. They are more legible. Their value is easier to understand. Their proof is easier to see. Their offer is easier to buy. Their story is easier to repeat. Their work is attached to a clear problem, and because of that, opportunity moves toward them. This is where disciplined men lose to strategic men. Not because discipline is useless. Discipline is essential. But discipline without strategy becomes labor. Strategy turns labor into power. Look at the unsupported man who says, "I can write." That means nothing. Write what? For whom? To solve what problem? With what proof? With what result? Now listen to the strategic version. I help educational YouTubers turn weak video ideas into high-retention openings that make viewers stay past the first minute. That is different. Now there is a buyer. There is a problem. There is a result. There is a context. There is a context. There is a reason to care. Look at the man who says, "I can edit videos." Again, too vague. The market does not walk toward fog. The market walks toward clarity. A stronger position is this. I help coaches turn long videos into short clips that create curiosity, authority, and leads without hiring a full-time editor. Now the skill has shape. The buyer can understand it. The pain is visible. The value is easier to trust. This is packaging. And most unsupported men do not package. They suffer, but they do not signal. They improve, but they do not document. They practice, but they do not create proof. They learn, but they do not publish. They build, but they do not position. Then they hope good work speaks for itself. That hope is dangerous. Sometimes good work speaks. Often it stays silent. Sometimes good work is buried. Sometimes good work is misunderstood. Sometimes good work is stolen. Sometimes good work is ignored because no one understood what problem it solved. You must stop believing the world will automatically detect your value. It will not. The world is overloaded. People are busy. Buyers are skeptical. Opportunities move toward visible signals. Trust goes where proof is repeated. Money goes where pain is solved. Credit goes where perception can attach itself. This is the Machiavellian correction. Perception distributes credit. Reality that is not framed will be framed by someone else. If you do the work but fail to frame it, someone else can define its meaning. If you create value but fail to claim evidence, someone else can take the recognition. If you improve but fail to document, the market may never know the transformation happened. If you suffer quietly, the world may simply call you average. This is not fair. But power does not begin with complaining that reality is unfair. Power begins when you understand how reality works and move accordingly. If you are serious about becoming undeniable, understand this clearly. You do not need more people to pity you. You need more evidence. You do not need more people to validate your pain. You need your work to leave a trail. You do not need the world to finally understand your suffering. You need the world to see your signals so clearly that ignoring you becomes difficult. And if you are serious about this path, if you are done watching endless content while your real life stays the same, then join my Patreon. You are already consuming lessons about power, discipline, leverage, and human nature. But if you keep watching without applying, without sharpening, without placing yourself under harder truths, you will remain entertained instead of transformed. Inside Patreon, I go deeper into the unfiltered principles that cannot always fit inside public videos. Power psychology, self-mastery, strategic solitude, status, leverage. The hidden rules men are punished for not understanding. If you want comfort, stay where you are. If you want to actually change, step into the deeper room. The decision is yours. Power is not in asking. Power is in making the other person choose what you already wanted. Now let me show you what this looks like in the real world. Ben Francis started Gymshark in 2012 when he was 19. He was not protected by some giant sportswear empire. He was not born as the obvious king of fitness apparel. He was young, unknown, outside the traditional establishment. The early story is not about comfort. It is about turning work into signal. He began with product. He attached that product to a specific tribe. He made the word visible inside the fitness world. The early evidence was not a speech about ambition. It was apparel, branding, community, distribution, proof. That is the lesson. Gymshark did not win because the work stayed hidden in a garage. It won because the work escaped the garage. It became visible. It became associated with identity. It became something the market could recognize, share, wear, and believe in. The unsupported man must learn from this. Do not worship the garage. Do not romanticize the struggle. Do not become addicted to the private room. The private room is where skill is forged, but the market is where power is tested. A man who only works in private becomes emotionally attached to effort. A man who exposes his work becomes attached to reality. And reality is the only teacher that can sharpen you. Private effort asks, did I try hard? Reality asks, did it work? Private effort asks, do I deserve to be seen? Reality asks, did you create a signal strong enough to be noticed? Private effort asks, am I ready? Reality answers, you become ready by being seen, judged, corrected, and sharpened. That is the difference. You do not become powerful by hiding until no one can criticize you. You become powerful by turning criticism into data and data into better execution. Another example is Pieter Levels. He publicly committed to launching 12 startups in 12 months. That was not a comfortable strategy. It was not polished. It was not protected by perfect conditions. It was exposure. It was contact with reality. The average man waits until every idea feels safe. He waits until the product is perfect. He waits until he has more confidence. He waits until nobody can reject him. But that waiting is often not wisdom. It is fear wearing the mask of preparation. Peter Levels forced the opposite. He shipped, he launched, he created evidence. He allowed the market to respond. Some ideas could fail, some ideas could be ignored, some ideas could be judged, but every launch created contact with reality. Every product became proof. Every response became data. Every public attempt made him harder to dismiss. That is how unsupported men must think. Do not ask the world to believe you are capable. Create so much evidence that belief becomes easier than doubt. Do not tell people you are serious. Show repeated proof that seriousness has become your standard. Do not ask people to imagine your potential. Make your potential visible in public form. This is the transformation. From hidden effort to visible evidence. From private ambition to public proof. From silent suffering to strategic leverage. And now you need to understand the 4 corrections. First, do the work. There is no replacement for competence. You cannot brand your way around being useless forever. You cannot talk your way into respect if your output is weak. You cannot manipulate reality for long if your foundation is empty. Sooner or later, weak work gets exposed. So skill still matters. Practice still matters. Depth still matters. Repetition still matters. Study still matters. Long hours still matter. But do not confuse doing the work with finishing the strategy. Doing the work is the beginning. It is not the whole game. Work is the raw material, not the final weapon. A man who only works hard may become useful to others without ever becoming powerful for himself. He becomes the reliable one, the quiet one, the one who can be used, the one who delivers but does not negotiate, the one who produces but does not own attention, the one who makes things happen while someone else stands closer to the credit. That is not nobility. That is a failure of positioning. Second, document the work. Documentation turns effort into evidence. If you are learning copywriting, save the weak version and the stronger version. Show what changed. Show why it changed. Show how the new version creates more tension, clarity, desire, or trust. If you are learning video editing, show the raw clip and the finished clip. Show the cut. Show the pacing. Show the first 5 seconds. Show why the viewer would stay longer. If you are learning YouTube strategy, show the weak title and the stronger title. Show the vague idea and the sharpened idea. Show the hook that explains too much and the hook that creates curiosity. If you are building a business, document the offer, the experiment, the failure, the lesson, the adjustment, and the next test. This is not vanity. This is proof. A man without proof is forced to ask for trust. A man with proof gives people something to judge. That is stronger. Trust is not demanded. Trust is built through repeated evidence, and repeated evidence becomes reputation. Third, position the work. Do not just throw random output into the world and hope people understand it. Most people will not. They are busy. They are distracted. They do not have the patience to decode your value. You must tell them what they are seeing. This was a weak hook because it started with context instead of tension. This landing page was unclear because it described the service but not the outcome. This clip was slow because the first 5 seconds had no conflict. This offer failed because it started with the seller's need instead of the buyer's pain. This outreach message was ignored because it asked before it created value. That is positioning. Positioning makes your thinking visible. And your thinking is part of the product. People do not only buy the output, they buy the judgment behind the output. They buy the way you see problems. They buy the way you diagnose. They buy the way you make decisions. They buy the confidence that you understand the game better than the average person. So show the thinking, show the reasoning, show the standard, show the correction. Do not only say, "Here is what I made." Say, "Here is the problem, here is why it was weak, here is what I changed, and here is why the new version is stronger." That is how work becomes proof, and proof becomes leverage. Fourth, use the work as leverage. A sample can become an outreach asset. A case study can become a sales tool. A testimonial can become trust. A public breakdown can become reputation. A portfolio can become a door opener. A repeated content signal can become authority. This is how work escapes the private room. This is how hard work stops being charity. Because hard work without visibility becomes charity. You give time, you give energy, you give attention, you give discipline. You give your youth, you give your strength, you give your private hours. But if nothing leaves evidence behind, no one knows, no one trusts, no one pays, no one remembers. That is charity to the void. And the unsupported man cannot afford that. He does not have inherited credibility. He does not have a powerful network waiting to carry him. He does not have people assuming he belongs in the room. He may not have family clapping for him. He may not have friends who understand the size of his ambition. He may not have society giving him sympathy. So he must become precise. Every serious hour should leave evidence behind. Every week should produce proof. Every project should strengthen positioning. Every client should produce a lesson, testimonial, case study, or referral. Every failure should produce data. Every skill practice should move toward a visible asset. This is how you build leverage from nothing. Now understand the deeper trap. Unsupported men often become allergic to visibility because visibility feels like judgment. If you keep the work private, no one can reject it. If you never publish, no one can ignore it. If you never send the offer, no one can say no. If you never show the proof, no one can compare it. So the ego protects itself. It says, keep improving first. It says, wait until you are ready. It says, you need more time. It says, you need more confidence. It says, you need one more course, one more book, one more month, one more quiet season. Sometimes preparation is necessary, but often it is fear. And fear is expensive. Fear can steal years while pretending to protect you. The market cannot sharpen what it never sees. You need exposure, not reckless exposure, strategic exposure. Show the work, test the offer, send the message, publish the proof, track the response, improve. This is how reality trains you, not through fantasy, through contact. The weak man waits until he feels ready to be seen. The strategic man becomes ready by being seen, judged, corrected, and sharpened. There is no clean path. There is no painless path. There is only the choice between private comfort and public feedback. Private comfort protects the ego. Public feedback builds power. Choose correctly. And if this message is not just content to you, if you know it is describing the exact weakness that has kept you stuck, then stop treating transformation like entertainment. If you are serious about becoming harder to ignore, join my Patreon. You may be watching many videos. You may be collecting many ideas. You may understand the language of discipline, solitude, power, and strategy. But if you keep consuming without entering a deeper standard, you will know more and still move the same. That is one of the most dangerous traps for ambitious men. Knowledge becomes another hiding place. Inside Patreon, I go deeper into the exclusive, unfiltered material for men who are not looking for comfort. You will find deeper breakdowns on power, leverage, self-command, psychological strength, and the hidden rules behind status and influence. If you continue only watching from the outside, you will keep receiving fragments. If you step inside, you choose a more serious room. The decision is yours. Power is not in asking. Power is in making the other person choose what you already wanted. Now here is your practical command. For the next 30 days, follow the visible work rule. Every day, produce or document one piece of evidence, one sample, one breakdown, one before and after, one short case study, one public lesson from practice, one outreach message with a useful observation, one portfolio improvement, one proof post, not motivational noise. Proof. Ask yourself every day, what problem did I notice? What did I change? Why did I change it? What result is it designed to create? What does this reveal about my judgment? What does this prove about my standard? That is the format. At the end of 30 days, you should have evidence. Not just effort, not just emotion, not just another private promise to yourself. Evidence. And evidence changes your posture. You stop saying, I am working hard. You say, here is the work. You stop saying, I deserve a chance. You say, here is the proof. You stop saying, nobody sees me. You say, here is the signal I am building. That shift matters. Because men who constantly ask to be seen often look powerless. Men who build visible proof become harder to ignore. You do not need to beg the world to believe in you. You need to make your value easier to recognize. You need to make your work easier to trust. You need to make your usefulness impossible to misunderstand. This does not mean you become loud for the sake of being loud. Noise is not power. Attention without substance decays. Fake authority collapses. Empty branding eventually gets exposed. The goal is not to appear valuable while being hollow. The goal is to make real value visible. That is the difference between manipulation and strategy. Manipulation tries to replace reality with appearance. Strategy makes reality legible. If you are strong, show where the strength creates value. If you are skilled, show what the skill solves. If you are disciplined, show what the discipline produces. If you are improving, show the evidence of improvement. If you have suffered, convert the suffering into judgment, standards, depth, and output. Otherwise, pain remains only pain. And pain by itself does not make you powerful. Many men suffer. Few men transform suffering into leverage. That is the line. The unsupported man must stop waiting for permission. No one is coming to certify you before you begin. No one is coming to explain your value for you. No one is coming to rescue your hidden work from the private room. No one is coming to reward the version of you that refuses to be seen. You must do that yourself. Do the work. Document the work. Position the work. Use the work as leverage. If you are learning, build proof. If you are practicing, create evidence. If you are failing, extract data. If you are improving, show the transformation. If you are building, make the signal visible. Every serious man should be able to answer these questions. What skill am I developing? What proof have I created? Who can see it? What painful problem does it solve? Why should the market care? What asset did my work produce this week? What evidence exists outside my own head? If you cannot answer, you are still living in theory. And theory does not feed you. Theory does not open doors. Theory does not create trust. Theory does not build reputation. Evidence does. This is the harsh truth. Hard work does not save you if no one can see it, measure it, or use it. Skill is what you can do. Proof is what others can see. Leverage is why they must care. The world will not automatically detect your value. The market will not reward your hidden suffering. Power will not appear because you were quietly disciplined. You must turn effort into evidence, evidence into trust, trust into opportunity, opportunity into leverage. and leverage into power. So stop donating your life to the void. Stop making your best hours invisible. Stop confusing exhaustion with progress. Stop hiding behind preparation when what you really fear is judgment. The private room has served its purpose. It gave you skill. Now your work must leave the room. Let it be seen. Let it be tested. Let it be corrected. Let it become proof. Because the man who needs permission stays trapped. The man who needs validation stays dependent. The man who needs the world to notice his silent pain stays weak. But the man who builds evidence becomes undeniable. And once your work has proof, position, and leverage, you do not need to beg people to care. Reality begins to speak in a language they understand. Not emotion, not complaint, not potential. Proof. Remember this. Hard work without visibility becomes charity, and you are not here to donate your life to the void.